This episode of the T4 Show is brought to you by Netflix. Watch thousands of TV episodes and movies on your PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, or TV instantly. All streamed directly to you, saving you time, money, and hassle. For your free 30-day trial, go to netflix.com/GFQ. Hey everyone, welcome to the T4 Show. This is episode number 149 for July 10th, 2013. My name is Michael Manna, and this week, Colm has gone Hollywood. He is in Hollywood, California, with his sister Kellen, who is a star in the newsroom. Season 2 premiere this week. They're going to have a big party, and Colm is invited to that. But I have the owner and founder of the GFQ network here, Andrew Zarian. He is graced us. He's not the big voice in the sky this week. He's actually showing up on camera.
No, I'm here. I'm actually replacing Hollywood Culmination for the remainder of the series. He's fired. He's done.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. We have Suncast here on camera too.
No, he's
see the voice in the sky.
No, he's not. There's no voice for him either. It's just me and you.
He's the text in the chat room now.
Yeah, that's it.
We actually have Colm in the chat room, and maybe before the show we get him to call in via Skype, because now Skype can work over your iPhone or Android device, which he doesn't have right now. He's all iOS now, Andrew. All iOS.
He made that big jump. I remember when he made the jump to Android and how much you loved it. And I think you told him, and I told him too on the show, that in a couple months he's going to go right back to iOS because, listen, I'm an Android user. I will not buy an iPhone for my everyday use because I'm already engulfed in the iOS experience. And I could tell you firsthand that the iOS experience is much better than Android. And I think he realized it.
Yeah, we talked about it. There's going to be a lot more episodes we can cover before iOS 7 is official. Right now, beta 3 is officially out. There's jokes about beta 4. I was looking at the screenshots earlier. We're going to cover another operating system. I want your thoughts. We're going to revisit that later on in the show. But the first thing we're going to talk about is this is sort of going to be, Andrew, I would say a crowdfunding or Kickstarter or startup type show where the subject of some of the stuff, if not most of it, is really going to center around the big Kickstarter or even Indiegogo and other crowdfunding project companies. And I think it's going to be unique. It's going to be interesting information. And I think people really need to know what's going on, or at least what we think is going on with these companies.
Absolutely.
It's really been swept under the rug, and I think we're going to bring all that stuff to light in this episode.
No, I just got into the Kickstarter thing maybe a couple months ago. I have funded 2 projects. I have not received anything yet from the project. I was supposed to get them, I think, in actually the first week in July. I was supposed to get one of them, and it never came. And the second thing was supposed to come in June. It never came, and they've delayed it. So I have some experience with Kickstarter and how things work on there.
Oh, so you'll have actually a real world direct kind of like experience and feedback.
Yeah, and the reason why I gave something to Kickstarter is because of Colm, because he told me how great Kickstarter is and how you can buy all these cool stuff on Kickstarter.
Well, the first thing we're going to talk about that you could have backed on Kickstarter, but easily bought in the end in a retail store like Best Buy, and still some of the backers. That's the theme. The backers have kind of been pushed to the side, and we're going to talk about that throughout the show with these items, with these products. But the first one, I'm kind of guilty of also kind of thumbing or putting my middle finger up in the backer's face by going to Best Buy, sight unseen, just walking right into the store with no reservation or anything, and bought a $99 Ouya, which is probably my favorite retro gaming console. It's Android-based. It's awesome. Colm put up a video. I'm going to put up a full tour using the Elgato Game Capture HD. I'm very impressed with it, but I'm torn too, Andrew, because like I said, the theme is that the backers haven't received, and now here's where we go into the I guess the terms, the kind of legalese, the perks, not quite buying the product, but the way Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and these other crowdfunding projects work is when you backed your project, Andrew, your 2 projects, you were promised a perk, but the foundation from what I've read from these, the fine print is you're not buying something. You're basically giving a donation to the company. So you're giving a donation to Ouya to make the product for customers like me to walk into Best Buy, essentially.
Absolutely, yeah. So you're pretty much a guinea pig to what they're trying to do, and B, you don't know what you're getting at the end of the day. So I personally, I funded two things. One, because I knew I would never get it in the store. I kind of have a feeling that this is going to be a limited run, the thing that I donated, and I know I won't get it somewhere else. But the Ouya is a perfect example of it being extremely successful and having tremendous issues with, giving the perks to people.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I'm torn because I really do enjoy the box. I think $99 is a great price point and offers a lot more than just even gaming on there. So I would recommend it if you can walk into the Best Buy and do it and you don't feel like you have a conscience about all these people. And if you go to their Facebook page, I think it's facebook.com/Ouya or Play Ouya, and check out their Twitter feed, there's a lot of people that are very unhappy. So we're going to revisit that, though, because the big news has to do with probably the biggest Kickstarter project in the history of Kickstarter, and that's Pebble. And we're gonna get to that because I feel like the discussion is going to be very long, and there's a lot of information to give people. But once again, and you just clicked on it in the show notes to check it out, the Xbox Live price hike after the dashboard update. That's the title that I saw up on Destructoid.com. And basically, as part of I guess they have the beta out there right now, Andrew?
Yeah, the beta's out, yeah.
Yeah, and right now it just looks like it's in England, but it looks like that after the dashboard update, for example, UK beta testers, and this is from Destructoid.com that I'm quoting it, UK beta testers discovered the price changes and logged their findings on Reddit, noting a more than 30% increase in game prices. For example, 1,200 Microsoft points cost, I think that's £9.99 in Britain, £9.99 or what. I was just there, I should know. But the new Xbox Live, games previously priced at 1,200 points would cost $11.99. That's a pretty big jump right there. Do you think Microsoft is trying to sneak something by the customers again with this dashboard update?
Well, I could tell you here in the States, they're getting rid of this point system. So if they decide, I mean, if a game, actually, it makes sense. If they're switched, they're gone from the point system. So they're going to be, a couple US dollars. So if a game used to be 1,200 points and it was $9.99, now it's just going to be $11.99. And you know what? Most people aren't going to even realize that it went up. I don't know. I have not seen it firsthand from anything that I've looked at on the new beta. I've not seen a price increase. It might be a British thing. They might have decided that they're going to put the price up due to, currency exchange.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. They're hoping it's just limited. Well, it's still a price hike nonetheless, whether it's just for the UK or they try to expand it. But I think a lot of people are really wary about Microsoft with, I don't know if people remember this announcement about DRM and all the other stuff that they retreated on. I really do feel like maybe they're trying to push the envelope every which way they can to see what they can do to people. Now, I think it's King of the Bad Timing Awards, where they're trying to. I would actually cut prices to try to get the goodwill of the people back, so they think Microsoft is really trying to at least make people feel comfortable with their product again.
I think anything that they do at this point, they're going to be under that, assumption that, they're trying to screw the consumer, where in reality, they probably have a good reason for what they're doing. It's going to be a tough couple of months for them, regardless of anything. I mean, the next Xbox has not even come out yet. And we have heard so much backlash with everything that they've done. So can you imagine if there's another, red ring debacle? I mean, we don't even know what's going to happen when this device comes out. It's a tough time for them. It really is. Yeah.
I think they definitely need to have this Rev A box, not have the problems of the 360. But didn't Paul Throth from What the Tech talk about how that wouldn't be an issue this time, or they solved it? It took them a couple of years, but I've had my 360 for a while. I have two of them and really haven't any problems with it. So I assume they're past that. But this is a brand new manufacturing process, a brand new box. It could have a lot of Rev A problems.
Well, I could tell you firsthand, their fix for, okay, well, let's make sure that the red ring doesn't happen. So there obviously was a big meeting saying, we're hoping that an overheating issue won't happen. We're hoping all these issues won't happen. How do we fix that? How do we make sure this thing won't overheat? They just put it in the largest box they could possibly find. That's why that thing is huge. That's why it's so big.
They should have made it like the Mac Pro and just had a huge fan in the middle of it.
Yeah, I mean, if they could have, they would, but that's why that box is so big. So that was their solution, to kind of put in this larger case so you don't have an overheating problem. I don't know. I'm a little concerned. I think at the end of the day, everything's going to be fine. But when you start seeing things like this, like a price hike, and you start hearing about, the always on, and you start hearing about all this backlash happening, at the end of the day, it may be what's going to send people to the PlayStation.
Yeah. Speaking of the DRM, Matt Denton in the chat room said there's a petition for Microsoft to return the DR. I assume return to DRM? I can't imagine that.
I don't think they're going to be going to DRM. I mean, listen, there is DRM. This is the thing that people don't get. There is DRM. The fact that matters, it's up to the company that's making the game. The publisher, it's their decision to put DRM on it. Sony has the same exact DRM policy that if EA turns around and says, we don't want you playing this on another computer, guess what? Sony, on another PlayStation, Sony can't do anything about it. That's the agreement that they have with the publishers. So DRM is there.
Don't you think it would have been better for Microsoft to at least not say anything and then say, hey, maybe after the fact? It doesn't sound very ethical, but your EA game's playing only on one. Let's say, I don't know what other companies are. Say WB games like Batman. Those will play on anyone because the developers, now you let the consumer choose, hey, which company am I going to support? Because now it's really off of Microsoft hands and in the developers. Quite honestly, the way they put it was, this box has DRM and it's up to the publishers. They kind of all lumped it in with the hardware instead of letting EA make the announcement, letting WB make their own announcement, and let them decide. I mean, they probably weren't too crazy about doing that, but Microsoft let all these developers off the hook, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, but the reality is, when is the last time Microsoft communicated something properly? The reality, they're not really capable of it. I mean, we've seen the debacle with Windows 8. We've seen the debacle with the Xbox. That's truly why there's a major restructuring happening tomorrow.
Yeah. I got a friend who wants to borrow my Lumia 820, and he listens to the show, Philip. And, I'll send it to him. He said he doesn't use a lot of apps, but I warned him. I said, it's great. I really think it's beautiful, but at the same time, you're going to find severe limitations. And he's coming from Android and iOS, and he prefers Android to iOS. So he's really going to make a big set. Going from iOS to Windows Phone might be one thing, but Android and knowing he can tinker with that stuff and going from that kind of functionality to Windows Phone 8, he's going to feel really DRM'd or closed down, or he's going to feel like he's in a huge, limited state with that phone. But I'll send it to him so he can find out for himself.
He might like it. Listen, I actually really liked Windows Phone.
I love it. No, I love it. I agree with you. I'm just talking about the limited things you can do with it as far as, I mean, they're finally getting navigation apps, but they're not as good as Google Maps for iOS or Android. Nowhere near.
No, I mean, that's the big problem. It's the ecosystem that you're in. First of all these phones are phenomenal. Android is decent. The iPhone is great. I really like the Blackberry OS when I used it. I'm the only one I know, but I really liked it. Windows Phone is great, but the problem is the winner of this mobile battle will be the one that has a really good ecosystem and the most developed ecosystem. And right now, it's the iPhone. The iPhone is the most developed and easiest ecosystem to use.
Agreed. You brought up BlackBerry. That was a good segue because the next story we're going to talk about is that BlackBerry 10.1 arrives for the Z10 on AT&T. Now, I'm assuming that it's just for that particular phone on that particular network and not the other ones. Like the keyboard one is the Q10.
The Q10 is the keyboard one, yeah. It's only for the Z10 right now.
Okay. So we're taking a look at what it has here. The OS update is similar to what we've seen elsewhere, adding Skype support and HDR photography, as well as improvements to both the hub and notifications. And you can get it over the air. All those who prefer the update wired way can visit the source link, and this is on Engadget. you love the camera on this. So, I mean, they're improving the camera on the Z10. I mean, that I haven't had to use one. I mean, I'm very curious about it, but
I really like the camera. The camera was phenomenal. The focus on that thing was great. The ability to kind of distinguish what's in the background and what's in the foreground. I have not seen a phone do that, especially any of the phones that I've used. This was by far one of the best cameras that I've used. Forget about the 5-megapixel thing, because that's not what makes a phone, what makes the camera on this phone a good camera or bad camera. Forget about the megapixels, because it means nothing. The sensor on this thing really knew how to do whatever it was doing. It really knew the white balance and the color saturation. It was close to as perfect as it could be. Not at the level of the iPhone. I wouldn't say it's better than the iPhone, but certain things like that macro, it has a macro feature, which is phenomenal, much better than anything else. It has this phone, it's such a sad story what happened to BlackBerry, because if this phone came out a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, it'd be a different story right now. But unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Well, we got that awesome music video, though.
We did get that amazing music video, yeah.
I watched today. I think I'm a big REO Speedwagon fan. I know it doesn't fit me, and I love that song. And I actually think as time went on, I was like, they spent some money on that. So, and RIM's not exactly in the best financial position. So I don't know if it was smart, but it was a very well done music video. And who doesn't want to be in a music video?
I want to be in one. I mean,
yeah.
Give me a White Snake music video.
Have I been in one? I think I've been in one. I don't know.
You
I don't remember. I think I have, like 2 of them. Not sure.
Huh.
They must have been awful because I can't remember. I don't want to remember. That's what it is. I've been involved in a lot of awful things in my life, and I've forgotten every single one.
You've kind of blacked them out. God forbid you go to a therapist.
Kind of isn't even a story. It's not drugs or pills or alcohol. I can purposely block off, much like the Bourne conspiracy or the Bourne ultimatum. I can block off certain memories.
Hey, I want to ask you something. Did you see the story that Thurston Hines, the CEO of BlackBerry, came out and said that they
made such a name, isn't it?
Thurston
what a
Hines.
Dick name that is.
It really is.
Sounds like a dick.
When I first saw it, I did not believe that it was his real name. I thought it was a big joke that the press was playing. But he came out and said that we made a lot of mistakes with the Z10 launch in America. We made a lot of mistakes, and we didn't do proper ad campaign for this thing. And it's interesting that he came out and said that, considering BlackBerry is releasing 2 new BlackBerry devices. It's running BlackBerry 7. It's an older BlackBerry. I mean, this is a amazing thing that they're doing, where they have these 2 phones, the Q10 and the Z10, and now they're still releasing the same crappy old BlackBerry that they've had for the last 6-7 years. And this guy just came out and said, we've made a lot of mistakes and we're fixing them. But you're continuing to make these weird mistakes. I think it's bold. I think it's bold.
Yeah, I don't like the I think they should just kill the legacy devices and really say this is what you're going to get and this is where we're moving from now on. They really can have there's 2 BlackBerries right now, like you said, 2 BlackBerry companies. The one with the touchscreen, the one that has this beautiful OS and a nice camera, and then the one that's just utilitarian or just kind of like basic bare bones kind of keyboard. Who uses a keyboard anymore? I don't know anybody with a physical keyboard on a phone.
You know what? The Q10, I got a chance to use the Q10, and it was really easy to use. And I think for a lot of people, there's a group of people that use these devices, and they are not used to the touchscreen, nor do they want to use touchscreen. It holds them back. They feel like it takes a while to type.
Then they should say that. We give you the choice. We know that the keyboard, there's no other phone out there that has a great keyboard but us, and we want to give you that choice. That's why this is here. They've never communicated. Like you said, they made mistakes. And the Microsoft thing, they've never communicated the choices to give people. They never, it's funny because every time I see it, I heard that guy's name and it makes me laugh, or I see any kind of CEO these days, and I always compare it to Steve Jobs, and I always compare it to the next story, because if somebody gets up there in a suit and they're talking about cool apps and this and that, don't you automatically think, wow, this guy's like, he's just some corporate CEO telling me about this. He doesn't look like he really conveys the message.
No, and I
of
think the
consumer.
problem with BlackBerry is that, you know, they are a corporate device. That's really, they're an enterprise device, and the enterprise market no longer relies on BlackBerry security and BlackBerry servers. Everybody that I know in the IT world, from small to big, they have iPhones, they have Android. It's a mixed environment at this point.
Yeah,
It's not
I don't
necessary.
trust BlackBerry having servers and have my information on there. I don't know why people let that happen for so long. Didn't have it internally.
They really did not have an option. I mean, that was the thing. People didn't want to invest into the infrastructure, and they wanted to. It worked. But it's a different world now. I mean, when you have the iPhone doing the same exact thing, why would you pick up an ancient device? You know, I'm not saying new BlackBerry. I'm saying, you know, up until now, why would you want to use that device?
Yeah. Well, let me put it a different way, and we're going to talk about the next article right after this. I made the point about Steve Jobs when he comes up on stage, he makes a presentation, or when he's talking to people. And even though he has a reputation, I really do feel like anytime I go to, even at work, and you've dealt with people like this too, you don't have to name any names, but when you go to a meeting with somebody and they're in a suit and they're in a tie and they're kind of dressed and they're kind of stuffy and you're automatically, your guard's up and they don't feel. I can't really convey what I don't know. It seems like the bullshit factor goes way up, and I'm dealing with a businessman and not somebody with vision. Somebody that's just trying to make a sale. Somebody that's trying to get my money, which everybody's trying to do when they're trying to sell a product. But do you understand, rather than Steve Jobs or Johnny Ive or other guys like this who don't dress anywhere near like the money that they have, these guys convey that passion and that caring, and like, I really like this. Even if I didn't work for the company, I would use this. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. And you know, that really has been Apple's, that drove Apple for many years, was that cool factor.
Yeah,
you know,
Suncast.
Yeah, he just said in the chat. That's funny. And I believe in that. I think that really helped Apple reinvent their image. You know, Apple was a dead company, and here comes Steve Jobs. You know, he's wearing the black turtleneck and the jeans, and he's going on there, and he's not pitching an idea. He's kind of telling you that, hey, listen, this is what we're doing. Isn't it unbelievable? And you know, there are puppets in the crowd, and they go, yeah, this is really cool. But at some point, even the straightforward journalist that doesn't pick a side, he drinks the Kool-Aid. And that's what drove Apple. You don't have that with BlackBerry. You don't have that even with Google. I mean, Google tries, and I don't think Google has that cool factor that Apple was able to kind of create to the cult of Mac.
Yeah.
That is, by the way, I've always been fascinated by. It's a weird thing to say, but like this whole cult mentality. I've always been fascinated by people that have been able to kind of convince, you know, like a David Koresh or like a Georgetown type thing. Like, how do you convince all these people that you are 100% right and everybody else is wrong? Steve Jobs had that. He had that exact thing that he was able to tell people, like, this is what you want, this is what you're going to buy, and that's what people did for a long time.
Well, I'm going to answer that. By the way, it was Jonestown. Georgetown might exist too.
Jonestown, yeah.
Georgetown exists in a basketball team full of cult people. But here's where it goes. And I don't mean to insult anybody in the chat room or anybody who's listening or watching, but society as a whole is very weak-minded and very easy to lead and are sheep. And if you tell somebody, I know this from the wrestling business, there's people that are absolutely, they suck. But if they tell the office and other people that they're great, and they always tell people they're great, people eventually go, well, he must be great. He always says he's great. It's so easy to mold people's minds.
It really is.
It's now here's the thing. Sooner or later, you get found out if you can't back it up. The thing with Steve Jobs and Apple is that they backed it up.
They were able to back it up.
Not the people to drink the Kool-Aid, but you only buy yourself so much of that cult mentality. And we're going to get back to it too when we talk about the Oya again and the Pebble and other Kickstarter projects. The people are drinking the Kool-Aid, but if it gets to be too long, the window will close, and now your greatest allies will now be your greatest detractors and trolls on the internet.
Absolutely. And you know what? And here's a great example. Forget about the iPhone. Forget about the iPad. The iPad more than anything else. But You give me another company that comes out every single year, puts out a better version of what you have, and you line up the following day at the store and you buy it. There's no other company on this planet that is able to do that. Every time a MacBook Pro comes out, guess what happens? People are waiting online. The same people that went and bought a MacBook Pro a year ago are waiting in line for the new MacBook Pro. When the new iPad comes out, the following year, the same people that spent $500 on this device, they wait online and spend another $500 on that device. There's no other company that could do that. Microsoft can't do that. Samsung cannot do that. HP, Dell, none of them could do that. It is that dedication and cult-like mentality that they have been able to create. And you know what? Good for them, because they figured something out that nobody else was able to figure out. I don't know any other company that could put out a $1,500 laptop and the same people are waiting in line every year to buy that.
I'll give you, and it's a simple, hey, I've said this the whole time since T4 show started, and I've had Apple products. Total cost of ownership. You do pay $1,500. I paid $2,100 for this Retina display MacBook Pro. And there are laptops, like Colm has a Razer laptop that's amazing for less money, and he's enjoying the gaming on that. And,
by the way, I have a theory on that. He's getting rid of that thing in about 3 months. He's getting rid of it.
I don't know about that, because he's sold on Steam. So Steam is the way to go for him, and that will be a great laptop for him for a long time. Plus, his wife does not want him playing games where he's at in the office, because she can hear him.
Oh yeah,
blast.
I heard that. Yeah.
So those two factors together, he's not getting rid of the laptop. I will say this. The Apple total cost of ownership, this is where it goes to me when Colm is experiencing it right now. We're sort of going down a rat hole, but it's something that needs to be said. Colm switched over to the Note 2. The first thing that scared me to death about that was, what if something goes wrong? What if the home button goes? What if the screen stops responding? What's the process with Samsung? Is there a Samsung store somewhere? There are Experience stores now, but they don't have Genius bars where you can exchange your Samsung Note 2 right there for a new one. In other words, you're going to have to send it off. You're going to have to get a loaner phone or have an unlocked phone or something as a secondary phone like we used to back in the 90s and 2000s before the iPhone. And you're going to have to wait 2, 3, 4 weeks, however long, for them to get the phone back to you. All the Nokia customers are going through that right now, Andrew. What do we do? How do we send this 920 back? When do we get it back? What do we get? What are we going to use? Apple, go on apple.com, make a Genius Bar appointment, go in, say, hey, listen, my home button's not working. They test it a little bit and they look at it and go, we're not even going to buy it. Here's a new one.
Well, my wife has an iPhone, Michael, and she has, I want to say 4 times, brought her iPhone back to the store. Actually, I can't switch cameras. Hang on. Brought her phone back to the store. I know the buttons aren't working. I don't know what's going on. She, I think with the 4S, she cracked the screen once. The other time, she had a bump on the side. Brought up twice. They gave her a new one. The 5, again, she broke the screen. Gave her a new one. The second time, there was a problem with the radio where everything was echoing. Gave her a new one again. No questions asked. Nothing. Just here you go. You're not getting that anywhere.
And did she not get the Apple tax or the Apple premium back on that? No, I'm saying her investment with that. She got it back for her time, her energy, your energy to try to figure out, where am I going to mail this thing? Who do I call? Who do I email? I got to wait for them to get back to me.
Oh yeah, no, we don't have Apple Care either. She has no Apple Care.
No, the first year is great. I buy it in the 11th month of every time I buy something.
Yeah.
It's that. And when people say, why are there iPhone fanboys? Why are there Apple fanboys? One other thing, this Retina MacBook Pro, something happened to it. I never even looked. We had a little crack or some kind of thing on the filament or whatever's under the glass. And at first they weren't going to fix it. It was going to cost $719. And I said, listen, I've had this thing closed. It's been on my desk forever since I bought it. I showed him a picture of how I have the cinema display hooked up. This is how I use it. The manager goes, nah, don't worry about it. No problem. We'll replace it. That made me want to go buy a Mac Mini or go buy, because I just saved $719. But what other place is going to go and do that for somebody?
No,
that's the difference. And that's why that's what Windows, that's what Google or Android or any other manufacturer that makes these phones or devices, if they offer that level of service and where you can really breathe easy. If something goes wrong, I'm covered. That's the difference. It's no secret. It's not a cult. That's what makes Apple better than everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a fan of it. I use an Apple, but I also use PCs. I mean, I'm both. I'm in a mixed environment.
I know we're not saying that they're not great. I'm just talking about being the 3% guy, being the guy that everything goes wrong with. I will not venture outside Apple because I don't have enough time or mental sanity left in my body to deal with anything else. I deal with enough troubleshooting to the T4 show. I don't want to do anything else. Fine. I'm good. And I hate Metro. It sucks. Give me the desktop back. How's that? I say that.
That's good.
Paul.
You could say that.
I said that for Paul. All right. We were talking about CEOs, and I know that was a way long thing, but I mean, everybody in the chat room seems like they made the same points and stuff too about the Apple stuff. Now, we talked about CEOs, talked about the Thurston guy and other suit and tie CEOs. The T-Mobile CEO, I remember when they did the thing talking about the uncarrier plans, and one of the first words out of the guy's mouth was bullshit, right? About the other contracts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's exactly word for word what he said. It's bullshit. But they keep going with these things to separate them from the other carriers. Now, not only this guy, I think, is a little more conversational than the other CEOs, but they keep offering these little things that seem to make T-Mobile stand as a really good choice. And the next part that they're doing right now is the Jump phone upgrade program. They might have to change that one, the name of it. But Jump from T-Mobile is designed to provide customers, this is from the press release I got through email, to provide customers with total protection for one of their prized possessions, their smartphone. It offers the freedom to upgrade to a new device more affordably and protects against malfunction, damage, loss, or theft. I can't even say it anymore. All for just $10 per month per phone plus taxes and fees. That's just $2 more than most customers have been paying for handset protection alone. So beginning Sunday, June 14th, customers can choose to upgrade when they want, not when they're told with Jump. Here's how it works. Customers can upgrade to a new phone, financed through T-Mobile's equipment installation program twice every 12 months after they've been in the Jump program for 6 months. Simply trade in an eligible T-Mobile phone in good working condition at a participating store location. Any remaining EIP payments will be eliminated, and current customers can purchase new phones for the same upfront pricing as new customers with device financing and simple choice plan, no annual service contract. With Jump, current customers never pay more for their new phones than new customers. What's your impression? I'm trying to figure out where the fine print's at on this and how they're going to make their money, but what's your take on that, Andrew?
Well, I'll tell you, the whole concept that you don't get a contract and that's a good thing. I'm one of those people, like, I don't get the whole no contract thing. I'd rather sign a 2-year contract, pay far less for my phone, and get a new phone in 2 years. I know a lot of people like the no contract thing, but for me, it doesn't really matter. But so with this, I'm guessing the reason why you're getting this is so you're not tied down behind a phone for 2 years, right?
Yeah, I just...
But there's no contract.
The uncarrier plan sort of was back-ended and said, well, you're paying this month, you're paying $99 for an iPhone, and I think they put it up to another price, $99 for your iPhone, and then $20 a month for the 2 years. So you did have a contract.
Yeah, it's a contract
for the remainder of that. I'm wondering how this works, if they're just going to do something to where, because who can? I mean, you have to be in it 6 months and start trading up. Now, what if you decide after 6 months, I'm going to buy an iPhone 5S or something, and then I'm done? I'm just going to go to Simple Mobile or Straight Talk or another prepaid carrier. I wonder how they're going to hold these people to that. Or maybe people are going to be so satisfied because, hey, listen, I can have 2 phones a year, and I'm only going to eat. This is the part that confuses me. Say you buy a Note 2 and it's $199 now or whatever it is, or even an S4 for $199 or $249, depending upon the size of the internal storage. Do you just eat that $250 after 6 months and then?
Okay, so here's what someone broke this down, okay? He said, the way I understand it, for example, let's say on 10/1/2013, pay down payment for iPhone 5S. $200, right? I guess the down payment would be. October 2013 to September 2014, you're paying $20 a month for the phone plus $10 jump fee. So $30 extra. Now, October 2014, pay the $200 down payment for an iPhone 6. Surrender half paid for iPhone 5S. October 2014 to September 2015, pay $20 a month plus $10 jump fee. Anyone else see it this way? In this sense, you're paying $560 for the year to have the latest and the greatest phone. T-Mobile then resells your 1-year-old Gen device to someone who wants a lower down payment, monthly payment. So you have to surrender your phone.
So you're essentially better off in, just for your freedom buying. Now you do get the equipment protection plan, so you can. That's one thing on top of that. So if you break a lot of phones that are outside the iPhone universe, it might be an advantage for you to do that. Now what? Now if this $10 plan, it wouldn't make sense if you bought it full price.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think this is for people that don't want to pay out of pocket. Like, here's the other scenario this guy did. October 1st, 2013, you pay $649 and you buy an unlocked iPhone 5S. October 1st, 2014, you pay $649 and you buy an unlocked iPhone 6. Then you sell your iPhone 5S for like $400. At the end of the day, it comes out the same. I think T-Mobile's doing a lot of shady stuff with their pricing structure. They're making all these people think that you're not tied down to the carrier. We're thinking differently. And at the end of the day, you're getting screwed as much as you would with the other guys.
I had an idea when I went for the iPhone 5, and I should have tested it. The new T-Mobile iPhone 5 has the bands for T-Mobile and the AT&T networks. And you can basically buy it and get it unlocked on the spot or call T-Mobile, and it was $579. Now, I bought this under contract because Radio Shack had a great promotion, and I ended up getting a bigger iPhone for like $50, a 32 gig. But I was looking at that and going, man, I can get a 16 gig for $579, save like $70, and have it for either network. So I could try T-Mobile, I can try AT&T, I could try Straight Talk, I can try Simple Mobile, and I have it unlocked. I don't have any kind of contract or anything because I was really against it. And I still can pay. I think I can pay $325 for this iPhone 5 and be out of my contract anyway, right? So it's about the same.
Yeah, it's about the same.
So it doesn't matter. But I don't know. Now that you broke it down, I guess anytime you got to read it a couple times and then have it broken down, they're trying to hide something.
Yeah, I mean, so listen, that's why I'm fine. That's why I'm fine signing up for a 2-year contract. Getting the phone, getting a new phone every 2 years. If I want to pay out of pocket, guess what? I'll pay out of pocket. The way that I've actually set up my phone plan is that I have a dummy plan that I'm able to kind of use that as my every year phone. So pretty much the way it's 1 year one qualifies and the other year the other one qualifies. And then my wife's phone qualifies the 3rd year. So every year I could essentially have a new phone.
Yeah, Calm steals his wife's upgrades. I don't know if that's a dirty little secret.
I steal my father's. I take my father's upgrade.
Care. Most people don't care. That's why guys like us love having family like that, so we can just use their upgrades.
Oh, no, what I do with my father's phone, I use my father's for my wife's upgrade, and I use my wife's upgrade for my upgrade. And then we give my father, the iPhone 5 or the iPhone 4S. Right now he has a 4S, and he loves it.
Yeah, good phone.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, especially for somebody that doesn't care about the things we care about. It's about the same phone as the 5. So... I'm sorry I brought that article up now.
See, now it makes sense after you read it. I felt the same thing too. I mean, when I first heard the T-Mobile story, when they were going, no contract, I'm like, wow, that's so awesome. You're going to go out, you got the phone subsidized as a price, but there's no contract, and they're really trying to do good. And at the end of the day, it's the same shit.
Yeah, you think if they did go out on a limb, people wouldn't read or wouldn't be like guys like us could probably work the system, but 97% of the people would just say, this is great, I'm sticking with them, and that's it. And they probably would have really upped their subscriber base. They probably would have made some money in the end with that. But, oh, well, here we go. I guess if you dress like a CEO, if you're a CEO, it doesn't matter how you dress. You're still going to bullshit everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, whatever your name is from T-Mobile. You made me look like an asshole. Jerk off. Hate them. Whoever he is, his name's Thurston too. It might as well be.
My-
Well, we're just talking about Google Maps. Google Maps by far, and I'm an iOS fanboy, so I'm telling you, Google Maps is way better on the iPhone than Apple Maps. Google Maps is tremendous, and it's coming. It's coming with iPad support soon. Andrew, it's going to have a bunch of different stuff. Standard, I think, on your Android device, you're going to be able to do a lot more. And then on iOS, it's going to come later, and it's going to have iPad support too, which is great for those people to have LTE iPads that want to have them in the dash, or now they're even having like mount holders in your car now, Andrew, which I saw a lot of good iPad ones from Audi or iAudi and a lot of other ones. And that's kind of like my guilty dream. It's not very practical because I have the iPhone 5 and it has built-in GPS and I pay for the data. But how cool would it be to have your iPad mini or your full-size iPad giving you directions and all that stuff while you watch The Dark Knight and drive?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think we should all be watching The Dark Knight and driving.
Part 2 and 3 might not be the way to go, but part 1 sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. No, I think this is really cool. I'm a big Google Maps fan. I'm actually, out of all things, I am excited about the Apple in-dash that they're going to be incorporating in the new cars coming out in 2014. My wife has an Infiniti, and I have to tell you, the Japanese navigation systems are really backwards. I mean, when they say Japanese do not understand software when it comes to their customer base here, it's 100% accurate. Everything is a little backwards. When you're coming up on a turn, it displays it on the bottom and not on the top. So it's kind of like you always think like it's coming up next. It's really backwards. It bothers me a lot. So knowing that if I have an iOS device, I could just connect it and it's going to be on my navigation, my entire entertainment system in my car is going to be kind of controlled by my iPhone, and it's going to have the iOS experience. I'm really excited for that. But I'm curious if Google is going to be working something out like that, because integrating Google Maps in your everyday driving is phenomenal. I would love to have that in the car too.
Well, isn't Sync from Ford based on Android?
It's garbage. No, it's Microsoft, and it's a piece of junk.
Oh, no, that there you go.
I
thought it had some kind of Android. I thought it had some kind of Android functions too.
No,
there's a card system with some Android in it. I'm not sure what it is.
I know that Sync is Microsoft, and I was actually shocked how bad it was, considering everybody praised it. All these people go on, all these tech experts go on, and they praise Ford Sync. And I used that, and I literally said, I don't understand the difference between this and my archaic navigation that I have on a TomTom. It was really bad.
Which tech expert are you talking about?
I don't want to name names.
I mean, we have some people on our staff, on our show, that's if you give them a bunch of money and you gave them a Ford, they might say it's great.
Listen,
that was the first thing out. That was the first thing out. So Sync, for what it was at the time, but we're talking about, it's been out for a few years now. So it's been out for a few years, and at the time it was really cutting edge for what it did with the voice commands and stuff like that. I used it in a Ford Focus, and man, there's nothing out there. I mean, you talk about this microphone here took years to get. If I have to get a car system, I'm going to be broke, because when you have a raspy voice and it can't do certain things and a Philly accent on top of that, it's going to be a nightmare.
It understands
beta test the stuff.
It understands my wife's awful Brooklyn accent, so I guess it'll work with you.
I think my accent's a little bit different. I'm told that I say certain words and whatever. You heard me read some of these stories. I mean, I'm tripping over myself.
I miss the live reads. I do.
Oh, God. I mean, I was going to say the F word like 4 times during that T-Mobile thing. I was just like, I was reading it like a 4th grader with dyslexia. That's like, I can't even say dyslexia. I'm so dyslexic.
It's all right.
It's really not.
Nobody's judging here. You know what they should really do, though, all these car manufacturers? I mean, we're seeing the integration with iOS, and iOS is integrated in, 13 manufacturers. I think Infiniti, Nissan, even Ferrari, Opel. All these car manufacturers are integrating it. Why not say, okay, you know what? No matter what phone you have, if you have iOS, if you have Android, you just connect this thing via USB. It knows it's connected to this certain brand of car, and now your head-on display is now controlled by your iPhone or your Android phone. It takes that look. It takes, so if you have an Android phone, guess what? Now you have Google Maps on there. If you have an iPhone, now you have Apple Maps on there. It's
Talking
not
about
that
having
hard.
like an open source car.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, might as well. Right now, if I plug my phone in to my car via USB, all my stuff from Google Music with the artwork and everything comes up on my head on the display on the navigation. Same with iOS. So already there's some integration there.
But the real money is in what piece of the pie is Apple, Google, and the car manufacturers. What are they splitting off of you for that premium package?
Yeah, I mean,
if it was open source, it would be you'd be able to go down the street to the place I've been looking at to put an iPad Mini in my Honda Accord.
No, not open source, but say if I'm talking about new cars with the navigation, but
you're talking about two different operating systems working together, and it's that the car senses as a hub. Which USB has been plugged in? Is it a Lightning connector, or is it an iPhone, a 30 pin, or is it a regular micro? And then I'll be able to tell what kind of operating system is off of that after reading the phone.
It's kind of able to do that now. I mean, listen, if enough money is signed, if these car manufacturers actually get smart, they'll sign a multi-million-dollar deal with each and every one of these OSs. Android, let's say Android and iPhone. I mean, if they could make millions off of these deals. Because the phone wants to do this. They want to say, hey, go buy an Infinity, and you get iOS. Go buy a Honda, you get Android.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's frustrating. My Honda Element, it exploded much like the Batmobile in The Dark Knight. And that's why I bought it, by the way. It was a black Honda Element. It reminded me of the Tumbler. So I was in a pinch. I wanted to buy another Element, but I couldn't find one. And there was a Honda Accord. It was 2006. It was the leather version, I think the EXP or EXL. And it was really nice, and I got a great price for it. But when I bought it, I never looked. And I just assumed since I had a 2005 or 2006 Element, one or the other, that this particular Honda Accord would have the line-in jack, the auxiliary jack.
It didn't have
This was the last Accord that had not have one before the next one. This is the expensive, pull the whole thing out and do that. That's why I said, if I'm going to pay like $300 or $400 to get this all taken care of and modified, I might as well spend another $300 and put an iPad Mini in it, which I buy the iPad Mini and then the price includes an iPad Mini, I think, a 16 gig. And that would have the automatic tied into the system, all that stuff, and I could take the Mini out. But imagine how cool that would be. I'm still considering doing that, especially if there's a bring your own iPad option, and it's up in Tampa, Florida, which I'll be up there August 3rd. And they basically give you the rental card too for the day.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you come back the next day and it's done. So it's like a $750 or something for everything. And they give you the rental car, you come back, and I think it might be a good investment because I'll have this car for a while.
Yeah, why not? I mean, listen, and you get all those apps. You get the mapping apps. You get Google Maps. You get the Apple mapping service, and plus you get all your music applications. If you want to listen to the radio, you could just do iHeartRadio. You could do Stitcher. You could do everything.
And The Dark Knight.
You can watch Dark Knight.
I just listen to the chase scene, and then it's all right. I don't watch it. I don't. I swear I don't.
You love Batman. You're a big Batman fan.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit.
It's all right.
A little bit.
No, I like Batman too.
Well, there's a lot of people that were fans of the Pebble Watch, and that's where we're going to go. This is probably going to close out until we go to our Netflix picks, which I don't have in the show notes, but you can probably guess what mine is. This is probably going to dominate the rest of the show, Andrew, because I really do think that it really needs to come out in the open. It confuses me at times, but as I see a lot of these crowdfunding projects, and the chat room was live earlier talking about the Jeff Katz Wrestling Revolution or whatever it was, and a lot of other projects that people really get excited about, and then it looks like it's going to be really great, and then it just kind of disappears, or things happen, or they just don't answer their customers, and it really seems like they just went off into the night with everybody's money. Now, with the Pebble Smartwatch, this was what I believe was the most successful Kickstarter project in history. Raised how many millions of dollars? $10 million. This little team The tiny team over $10 million. I'm looking at what the timeline says. But there's an excellent article up here on readwrite.com, and somebody had tweeted it to me, and because I was considering getting the Pebble smartwatch. And basically, Pebble, when did they start? I had it
2009 or 10. I think it was 2010.
So these people have been waiting well over 3 years. So I'm just going to give the story from the person that talked about this, Nick Stad. Damn, I can't pronounce anything right now. Basically, he pre-ordered the Pebble in June of 2012. So well after the initial funding and all that stuff. This is short 2012, June 2012, shortly after his Kickstarter had netted $10 million. So he probably felt it would be more ethical, and as someone who might eventually write about the Pebble, to refrain from backing the project. So he waited a year for the moment when the company said my device would ship, May of 2013. And then when it still didn't, 2 months later, that's where we're at right now, the Best Buy news, the news that Best Buy was going to carry the Pebble in the retail location. So just like the Ouya, I could walk right in and grab myself a Pebble smartwatch. So he felt that the Best Buy news was a punch in the gut, so much that I decided the company had lost my business, no matter how much time and money had since become sunk cost to me. So I don't understand what he meant by that. So to make matters even worse from his story, not even all the original backers at a Kickstarter have received their Pebbles, reportedly due to manufacturing issues depending upon the color of the selected model. The only solution to get the elusive smartwatch on time: cancel your order and funnel the refund money to Best Buy. Now I'm not going to read anything more. So, yeah, exactly. So basically, and Best Buy's all sold out online. I don't know if they're carrying it in the retail stores, but I think that kind of sums up in a brief, couple of paragraphs, just what's going on here. Basically, they raised $10 million. They can't deliver the watches, but they can talk to Best Buy and go, well, we don't have watches for these people, but we're going to give you the watches, and we're going to make sure that we continue to get money coming into our company and forget about the people that supposedly donated to the company.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty simple what happened. I mean, it really makes sense. When Best Buy goes to Pebble and says, we want to have you in our stores, Pebble has to be able to supply, X amount. Who knows what that number is? Maybe it was 250,000 Pebble watches. So they would rather have that Best Buy deal than a couple, maybe 10,000 backers that got screwed. They might have to wait a little longer. So they said, hell with it. We're going to ship them to Best Buy rather than dealing with the people who donated it. This is the big problem. These are not major corporations. These are up and coming, brand new companies, and they don't have experience with stuff like this. That's why shipping is a major make or break for any company. I know a lot of people, even the people that are canceling their Pebble from Kickstarter, are not getting the reimbursements. They're screwing them on that. They're holding out on the reimbursement.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I will say this, though. I know for a fact that Best Buy did not approach Pebble. Pebble had to present to Best Buy. Best Buy and Apple, these are the two biggest retail stores in the world, right? Best Buy and Apple, at least the brands. They don't approach people. People have to ask them and present to them, and they offer them a cut or whatever the deal is to get space on their shelf. That's the way it works. Okay, Best Buy doesn't go, hey, we like your product, you should bring it up to us. If that job exists, I would love to have that job and go around and tell tech companies, hey, why don't you put your stuff in Best Buy? I'd love to try it out for a little while and see how it is. I believe this is a sales presentation for Best Buy to say we can bring people into your store to buy our product, which makes it even worse that they're spending the time presenting to Best Buy when they should be. Most of this stuff, if not all of it, comes from China. There's no manufacturing in the U.S., so they're essentially out of the loop, and they have to count on the factories and everything going on in China to come together to get the Pebbles or get whatever product to the customer.
But I don't get the big deal with this stupid watch. I really don't.
Well, I don't know about it either. I know people that have it are very happy with it. People that are in offices or in meetings, they don't get disturbed, and they can kind of look at their watch real quick and check the text messages. I believe, too, that Pebble saw this as a calculated move that they needed to make now before Apple announces the iWatch. And, we keep talking about that rumor, but the fall might be the time. And they weren't going to take a chance on being late after the announcement, because once Apple announces this, forget about Sony, forget about Pebble, forget about this Meta watch right here. Sorry, I went right into the thing. I was using this. A friend lent it to me. The Meta watch, the Martian watch, or any other smartwatch, the iWatch will be the product that everybody goes to. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So this is a money grab, another money grab with Best Buy.
Yeah, I don't know. How many people are they reporting that are kind of getting screwed by this?
I don't know. This is the whole thing too. The numbers are never accurate on how many people got the shipments, how many people didn't. Oya, there's original people that didn't get their shipments, but people that ordered maybe 2 or 3 months after them got their shipments. It really is kind of, there's got to be an easier way to do it. There's got to be easier way to track it, an easier way to do everything. And I without saying, I kind of know what I'm talking about. You know that, Andrew, right? Don't say anything more than that.
I'm not going to say anything. But I mean, this is a big problem with Kickstarter.
What would you think if you were a backer? You're a backer of 2 projects right now. How would you feel if this was you and you really were looking forward to the Pebble and you can't even get your damn money back?
Okay, so I went through my backing history and I've backed 4 things. One is I'll tell you right now. I got the name. It pretty much it's a light panel for your TV. So you connect it to the back of the TV and all these lighting. You program the TV and this light device to kind of work together. So every time the color goes a certain way, like it works like the Philips screen. I was supposed to get that about a month ago. I have not gotten it. I backed that DVD you were on, that ECW DVD you were on, and I got that immediately. I backed the Veronica Mars movie project. What?
Because I told him to do it.
Yeah. I backed that Veronica Mars project that they're doing, which the movie's, I think it's going to be filmed in September, so that's fine. And then I can't find the other thing that I backed, but I remember I never got it. It totally fell apart. I mean, they just never shipped it. I don't know the entire thing. I got to go through the history. I close this out, but it's make or break. It really is, and these companies are not experienced enough. They put it on Kickstarter. They're hoping for all this funding, and then they don't know what to do when something goes wrong. It's a major risk that you're putting into a company. The Ouya is probably one of the most successful campaigns. I mean, really, when you talk about the conception of this device to the shipment, it probably is the most successful one.
Yeah, I agree. I was just looking up. I can't find the exact thing. But when I Google Kickstarter policy refunds, and Indiegogo's the same way, a project creator is not required to grant a backer's request for a refund unless, I can't see the rest of it, but Kickstarter's policy is not to comment on the reasons in any of those actions. So they kind of take themselves and they wash their hands of it and say, hey, deal with the project. So I'm looking at this. Now, like I said, this is treated like a donation, and you're given a perk. So I think the wording there is you get a perk, and it's kind of, you're not buying a product. So there's not really an exchange there, but aren't you donating with the promise of actually getting to use this product or get it early or get it at a discounted price or get a pack for a discounted price? You're not doing it out of the kindness of your heart. It's not charity. You want something for it, right?
Sure. I mean, Some people do. I think some people donate just for a charity. I think if you donate a couple bucks.
Well, if you're talking about somebody that needs something, or if you're talking about even the project for the documentary, if you donated to get a producer status and not a DVD or something like that, I can understand. But most of these people for a technology project are looking for the product. I don't think there's anybody not looking. What's that?
They want the product. You're right.
Yeah. And that's why I've never backed anything, because to me, it's just like, I can rather wait. I will walk into Best Buy and see the Ouya because I want to have an opportunity to return it. And, there's a lot of things going around. There's a lot of things too with certain technologies like Bluetooth, low energy and stuff like that. And there's many items on Kickstarter and Indiegogo where people don't realize that some of the Android phones don't have low energy. Some of the Android phones don't have the Bluetooth stack or library that works with it. And they end up donating, and then they try to use it with their Android phone and it doesn't work.
Do you remember Comb got something? I don't know. It was some sort of controller or whatever it was. It was just like a piece of crap. The entire thing like fell apart in his hand.
The Moga?
Was it that? I don't remember. See,
One for his Android phone?
Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was a piece of junk.
Yeah, but I got this one now, the Nyko. That works pretty well. I haven't used it yet. But it works pretty. I haven't used it yet, but it works great. How's it like that?
I'm on Kickstarter now. I'm looking at some of these, some of the things that they have. Like they have this. What is this one? Let's see. The Power Cube, the 21st century solution to power strips. So
I've seen that.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
But will it be made? And then items like that need UL certification.
Yeah,
Underwriter's Laboratory, because you don't want to blow up your house or set it on fire. So there's a lot of different stuff. I think stuff like this. Now I'm going to go to a comment on Facebook about the Oya and stuff like that. Stuff like this, like the tack slider and the airframe, that car mount that sticks into the vent, stuff that has the least amount of moving parts, Andrew, and is a kind of like an accessory based product, I think is excellent because your tech support is low. You can just offer a replacement for a defect. You don't have to troubleshoot it, so you don't have to worry about tech support emails or hiring support people. It really is just kind of like you just make sure the manufacturing is done right, and that's it. I really do think these kind of simplified products, that airframe I love, and it couldn't have cost more than $1 to make, and it's $25, and it's an excellent car mount. It's my favorite one.
I also, I'm looking at some of these projects and they're funded, 774% funding. They went way over what they were hoping to get, and they probably were just not able to meet a lot of their production goals. I mean, when you have that high of a volume to produce, no matter what money you're getting in, you're going to encounter some problems. It could be that the factory's not, set up for it.
What keeps going on?
I don't know. It's the shit software I use, and now the
sounds like you got either it's the witching hour or your arm's about to fall off on your microphone.
No, this thing is really falling off. But no, it's the software that I use has a weird thing where it says canvas error every couple minutes. There's no way to turn it off, which is amazing.
That then has a good question. Plug this question for us. What's the worst use of Kickstarter you've seen? You could probably answer that better than me. And Combs actually on Skype with me and in the chat room. Maybe he can answer it.
Worst use of Kickstarter. I mean, I've seen. Well, you know what I think is awful? People asking for money for their shitty podcasts. That's an awful way to use Kickstarter.
Yeah, or production. I will say this: the overfunding. What you're talking about. It's a weird thing to say that overfunding can affect the production and affect giving people what they need. But here's my question. Why don't they just cut it off? Why don't they just say this is the only people, like it's a famous sales term, under promise, over deliver. If you make people want it and you say, okay, we got enough to give these 1,000 or 2,000 people their stuff, we're going to make sure it works right, get word of mouth out, and then we're going to ask for another round of funding on Kickstarter for the next one.
You know what? I'll tell you why. When they start seeing $140,000 or $400,000 in funding, they're not going to stop accepting money. They want that money to come in. So it almost becomes like this. Wow, look at how much money's coming in. Oh my God, we're making money, and they don't want to stop that.
Then what do they do?
You take the money and you try to figure it out, and some people can and some people can't. And you know what? It's the end of that company when they can't.
Would you sleep in it?
In the money?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Scrooge McDuck. I just get a whole pile of singles and just swim in it.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Doesn't everybody want to do that?
It's a lot better than what some of these companies are doing with it. It's probably a lot smarter. We do have a Matt Denton's question there. We kind of answered. I don't know any Kickstarters that are the worst. But Angelica on Facebook, and we have some people who ask questions, some comments too. She says, as with anything else, backers should, that's all in caps, receive their perks at least a bit before anyone else. I do understand the need to bring in more money, but what's the perk of backing if it doesn't give you an advantage? That's what I said about the product. I think that's a good point.
No, I agree with you 100%.
So, I mean, when it comes to that, I don't think I'll ever in my life outside of a charity really ever back anything on a crowdfunding project. How do you feel at this point? You've backed 4 things. You haven't received anything yet. How do you feel about
Well,
that?
I've gotten one of the things so far.
Oh, how was it?
The DVD, the ECW thing, the documentary.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's because I sent it to you.
yeah, and I thought it was done really well. I was really happy with it. I thought it was one of the better wrestling documentaries that I've seen. But that was kind of already done, you know, like everything was already done. They weren't mass producing millions of these devices or hundreds of thousands of these devices. So something like that, I say, you know, go ahead. If it's a documentary and you know you're going to get it, then go ahead. But if it's some weird device that does not exist in the market, there's a good chance you're never going to see this thing. Or when you do see it, it's going to take a while, or it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Never go based on the prototype. I'll tell you that much, because the prototype will always be nicer and better, and you know everything you dreamed of. And when you get the final production value, it's you know a piece of plastic.
Well, I will say that the Oi is a very well built piece of hardware and very portable. And I should have took it to London because I had free Wi-Fi. I had a flat screen TV with HDMI, and I had my keys with me with all the games, and I could have used Plex. I mean, it really had pretty fast internet there. So I really could have conceivably just brought this thing to the hotel or brought it on the road when I used to bring my 360 and my PS3, and you know, it's very portable. I have to say that the Ouya, even though the customers are unsatisfied, the actual product delivers more out of the box than even people, and that's the under promising and over delivered. And this update brought all these emulators and these retro games that you can get and all this stuff and Plex and Flickster. And I don't know if Netflix is on there yet, but really does rival even an Apple TV with gaming, you know, an Apple TV type experience with games on top of that.
Yeah, no, I've heard only good stuff about it. I think I'm going to pick one up in a coming week.
You tweet it to the backers?
Yeah, I'm going to tweet it to them. Hey, I'm going to Best Buy to pick it up. Just want to let you know.
Yeah. Have you gotten yours yet? To say that now we're going to be, as Colm says, we're going to be heels.
Yeah.
Like him. So another, you know, a couple questions on Twitter. You can tweet me at Michael Matta, tweet him at Andrew Zarian, and also tweet at GFQ Network. And if he's not too busy walking the red carpet, at Culmination.
Hollywood Comb.
At Hollywood Colm now? Is that really?
No. He should do that.
Maybe by the end of the night. Lance at Lance Graphics asked, what do you think about these rumors concerning a cheaper made iPhone? Do you think there's any truth to it? What do you think, Andrew?
100%. They're gonna have a cheaper iPhone because what they're gonna eventually do is just kill off the old ones off the market. So you're not gonna have an iPhone 4 on the market. You're just gonna have the cheaper iPhone. You're gonna have one generation behind and the new one. So they're gonna have pretty much three phones on the market.
Hey, yeah, but I mean, how's that fit into the 3-tier one they have right now, where it's going to be the 4S, 5, and 5S, where it was the 4S, and 5. The 4 was free, 4S was 99, 5 is 199. What's this one? Where's this one going to be? Is it just going to be an iPod Touch with a phone?
No, I you know what they might do? It might just be a non-Retina device. I don't know. You know, what could they do? I mean, obviously, it's going to be plasticky. It's going to be a little cheaper. $199 is the iPhone, and $99 is this one. And then the free one is the one from prior generation. Or maybe they might not have the old generation one anymore. They might just, once the supply is done, and now you get the 5S and you get the 5S regular.
Oh, so you think 4S may go away?
I mean, why would they keep it? Honestly, like, why would you keep the 4S if now you have a cheaper one and an expensive one? That's how the market is right now. You got the cheap one, you got the expensive one. It's fascinating. I mean, I
think the colors are great. I think the colors are going to give them a lot of sales, but I don't know the hardware, where's that tier going to come in, and why would you get rid of a 4S? Because a 4S is still, it's actually, like you said, somebody in your family has one. It's still a pretty powerful phone with a great camera.
You know what's amazing to me? That the iPad 2 is still on the market. You're talking about a device that's 2 years old and is still being sold on the market for, $399, and people are buying it. What I could see them doing is getting rid of something like that, having two versions of each device. So that you have the iPad, and then you got the cheaper plasticky iPad. You got the iPad Retina, the iPad Mini, and then you got the cheaper plasticky iPad Mini.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really how they're probably going to end up going.
Yeah, one of the viewers, try to register and give us a name, but this GFQ viewer 3889 says the new cheap iPhone will be free. Think of it as a plastic 4S with a 4-inch screen. That's the bigger screen for free with the 4S internals. That might be the way to go. That's not bad. That's not a bad. Less of a camera too. Maybe the older 4S camera. Yeah. Now we got another question. RD Lee. He's basically the guy who opened our minds up about the ultraviolet stuff. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I heard you guys last week.
Yeah. So here's a question. How good is Plex via Wi-Fi? I tried it on PS3 and it has buffered every couple seconds. 50 megabit download speed with my internet. I stream 1080p movies just fine on Vudu Cinema now. That's the ultraviolet stuff. It all depends, because actually Plex over Wi-Fi, when Colm shares his library with me, no matter where I'm at, it buffers a little bit in the beginning and then it's good. There's a couple little hiccups here and there, but not much at all. Have you used Plex?
Yeah, I have. I haven't used it with Colm's special library, but I've used just AirPlay with that. But
he doesn't have the prawn folder anymore.
No, that's all gone, unfortunately. He used it all up before he
41. I don't need that anymore anyway. I have cats.
You have the cats now. That's good enough. No, Plex.
Not for that.
Not for that. No. No, you're busy taking the pictures.
Yeah.
Plex is pretty good. I mean, I've never had a problem with Plex over Wi-Fi locally. Now, I haven't done 1080p. I've done 720 with it, and it's been perfectly fine.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe going down to 720p, especially if you're streaming. Why 1080p unless you have it on your local network? It's going to definitely downgrade a little bit. We're going to go to one more question, then we'll go to our Netflix picks of the week. So if you want to put those in the Google Doc, I already put mine in there. Sure. Kyle Duffield asked, and I haven't seen this yet. He goes, "Hey guys, thoughts on the new Grand Theft Auto 5 trailer? Could this be the game of the century? LOL." I assume that it's not the game of the century from the way he's talking. Have you seen the trailer or the gameplay?
No, I haven't seen it at all. 3 times today I tried to watch a trailer on YouTube, and YouTube was not working for me.
Yeah, I saw your tweet.
No, it's still not working. It's only on one of the lines. The second line is fine. This one, for whatever reason, I can't access YouTube.
I don't know. Here's my Grand Theft Auto, which probably doesn't shock you at all. I never get past level 1 because I'm just running around trying to get 5 stars and helicopters to shoot at me. I just go on rampages.
I have not played Grand Theft Auto in years, so I'm so out of the loop with the whole gaming thing.
It's a great kind of frustration relief game. You just go around and you just kind of act like a maniac.
Like I get worked up over these games. Like it really, and I play the games when I'm going to bed, like on the iPad, and I'll get really worked up and annoyed, and I'm up to like 3 in the morning trying to play a stupid tower defense game. I can't imagine what it would be like on like Grand Theft Auto.
Well, I can imagine what it's like in about maybe 20 minutes to go upstairs and lay in bed, and I still have it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in my mind. And you know what music I'm talking about, Andrew?
What music is that?
Make a guess. Candy Crush.
Oh my God, you're still playing it.
I'm not playing it. I know. I have not downloaded it on any of my devices.
Oh, it's so...
Someone else has, and someone else has figured out. Actually, I didn't even figure out the puzzle. I was just messing around trying to get the whatever lined up, and now I know the secret to it. But yeah, that music plays for a good hour when I'm laying in bed trying to go to sleep, and I wake up. The first minute that she wakes up, she reaches for the phone and starts playing Candy Crush.
I can't do that. I deleted the game. I'm done. Took it off of every computer.
I swore I would never download it, and I still have never downloaded it. And this person tried her best to tell me, hey, just put it on your phone so I can play, because she ran out of lives and she had to wait for 24 minutes. Can't wait for 24 minutes, though, and used up all her requests on Facebook to get lives. So now she's asking me to download it on my devices. I refuse. I totally refuse.
Oh, my God.
I will never do it.
I can't do it. I can't. I'm done.
I tell you what, I'll tell you what people should do, and what I do all the time is I basically stream my videos through Netflix. We talked about Plex, we talked about Vudu and Cinema now, but the standard bearer and really the most affordable one out there with the biggest library that you don't have to build yourself is Netflix. And you can go to netflix.com/GFQ for a free 30-day trial. And this is the portion of the program where we talk about our Netflix picks. I picked one last week. I'm going to pick it again, mainly because I think Colm liked the way I said the name of the show.
Okay.
I'm going to try it again. Well, my pick of the week is Vampire Prosecutor. He's a vampire, but he's a prosecutor. And I'm going to read. I know it sounds silly, but it's not. It's a really serious show. It's basically Vampire Prosecutor. See the way I say that? 2011, 12 episodes. Prosecutor Min Tae Yang. Damn it. I can't say his name. Maybe I will by the time I get to episode 12. So this prosecutor transforms into a vampire, but he survives by drinking blood sold on the black market rather than preying upon the living. His special powers also give him an edge in solving murder cases, of course. Vampire Prosecutor on Netflix.
That's a real movie.
It's not a movie. You don't just get one, Andrew. You don't just get two. You get 12 episodes of this goodness, and it's basically, this is the best part. You ready for it?
Yes.
Korean dialogue with hard subbed English subtitles. There you go.
You know, there's a
gift that keeps on giving.
There's a Vampire Prosecutor 2 also.
2? It's a movie?
I don't know. I think there's a movie version. I think there's a TV version.
Listen, there's lots of five stars on this thing. This guy's begging for a second season. I was bored one day, stumbled across the show. I didn't start watching. I would think it would be anything great. I was so wrong about that. I absolutely love this show now. The characters are great and likable, and the stories are really good. After I finished season 1 on Netflix, I went for a search for the second season. Oh, there's 2 seasons, which was amazing as well. I hope there will be a 3rd season this fall. I've heard this is going to continue. I highly recommend the show. Give it a chance, even if you think it is something you might not like or you think it might not be that great. I have absolutely no criticisms. By the way, go to netflix.com/GFQ. That's where I found it. There.
Very cool pick.
I didn't say that part, but I know he was thinking it.
Yeah. I got my pick is I watched the entire series in 2 days. I have to tell you, when this came out, it's a Netflix original, and I initially had no interest in the show. I saw the first episode, and I thought it was pretty boring, and I did not want to watch it. Gave it another chance because I ran through all the TV shows on Netflix, and I absolutely fell in love with the show. It is one of the best written shows I have ever seen, and that's House of Cards. It is unbelievable. It's about a congressman from South Carolina named Frank Underwood, played by Kevin Spacey, and all the betrayal and the screwing and all the banging that goes on in Washington. It is brilliantly written, very smart, way too smart for regular TV. I'll tell you that much. That is why the show's not on TVs, because it is way too smart, and most of this country cannot follow something like that. Phenomenal show. It debuted February 1st, 2013. They're already, I believe they're starting to shoot the second season. It's unbelievable. Have you seen it, Michael?
I have not watched one. I watched the beginning of the first episode, but it's one of those things I know you have to get into. I sometimes don't give shows a chance. It's got to hook me.
I'm the same way. I'm the same exact way, and that's what happened with me. I watched it when it debuted. I gave about a half hour, and I was like, oh, this is way too slow. It's awful. I hate the guy. Like, I didn't get it, and I watched the second episode, and I totally got it, and the third one, I was hooked. That was it. It is, just unbelievable. It is so well done. It's unbelievable. It's actually sick how well it's done.
Netflix has really stepped up with original programming, and I think it's a glimpse into the future of. They're sort of creating their own network. They got that. They got Hemlock Grove, and I think they're gonna move forward the rest of the development. Let's not forget about that. Probably the most popular TV show to ever get canceled multiple times for some reason. That proves the Nielsen rating boxes are not very accurate.
No, it's not.
This show is very popular. So you got 3 original content shows. Oh, I think the New Girl now is on Netflix exclusively.
It
right?
is. It is, and it's not bad. I watched it. It's not bad at all.
But I'm saying that's 4 shows that they are producing now. So Netflix is sort of going the way of the HBOs and stuff without having to have all the cable subscriptions. You can cut the cable and get original content. It's a pretty cool deal right now. It was never that way before, but they're really moving forward with it.
And also discovering TV shows that you probably would never watch on regular TV. It really comes in handy there. Like Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I never watched it on FX. I found it on Netflix, and I absolutely fell in love with the show, and I watch it every night. I watch the same episodes every night before I go to bed. It's that good.
It makes me miss Philadelphia. That and Silver Linings Playbook makes me miss Philadelphia. I wanted to move back immediately when I watched that movie.
Here, I even got Always Sunny bobbleheads.
God. I'll show you something before we go. I was at the London Comic Con. First of all, I'm going to show you not much of the. I'm going to show you this first, so you can see. You can't really see what it is, right?
Is that Kit?
It is, but go one even better. Huge Stevie Richards fan right here, and you wouldn't know it. And he wasn't lying because he knew some of the stuff I did. I quizzed him, and he answered all the quiz questions correctly.
David Hasselhoff, huge Stevie Richards fan.
In front of Kit. He's in the car.
That's actually really cool.
Which was great because he hurt his knee, banged it, and they were trying to figure something out. And the Tourette's in me came out, and I said, "Stop being a pussy, Hasselhoff." And he looked over and he went, "Stevie Richards."
That's really funny. That's actually really...
Who else would say that?
I'll tell you, I don't know how much of a fan he is, but I bet you he doesn't have one of these.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
No. He can for the low price of retail.
Yeah, for the low price of $9.99, he could get one of them.
Yeah, is that how cheap they are now? Fuck.
Actually, I think my wife paid like $19 for it.
You and Colm's wives love me more than.
Oh,
people.
She loves you.
It's great. Glad someone does.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Awesome. I will show you one more thing that might get me in trouble. Actually, you know who that is?
No, who is that?
Adrienne Barbeau from Swamp Thing, from Escape from New York, from Cannonball Run 2.
She's not looking bad.
Very nice lady. 68 years old.
She's not looking bad.
Nice. Also, somehow knew who Stevie Richards was. I don't know. I didn't realize I had that kind of reach.
Well, you did invent the Stevie kick.
Actually, I didn't.
Oh,
I really didn't.
We could say that you did.
But yeah, I gotta get "Don't Hassle the Hoff" T-shirt. He wanted the T. That's the one I wanted to show you. Look, most important part of all. Look at the shirt I'm wearing.
T4 Show. Where can you get that shirt?
Brand new T4 Show shirts. Also, Dr. Stevie right here. Can't really see all of it, but you can go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Stevie Richards, and then it takes you to the link for the T4 Show store. The shirts are great. The shirts are awesome. You got the BWO shirt, you got a bunch of other stuff, and you got the "I'll Show You" shirt right there. Very, very cool. So you got a bunch of different shirts up there, and hopefully we'll have some GFQ shirts up there for you up there.
Yeah,
so,
hopefully.
Yeah,
really
cool.
Good quality too. I have to tell you, I'm big on the material of a lot of these shirts. I don't want to wear something that's way too thick and bulky, and it looks like it was made like in 1991. These things are really well done.
No, that's why I wore this one. I got upgraded a little bit to the thinner material, but even the regular Gildan shirts are pretty cool. So happy with all that, and I hope everybody's happy with our conversation tonight. This is episode number 194. I hope they get there someday. 149 for July 10th, 2013. You can follow me at Michael Manno on Twitter. You can follow him at Andrew Zarian. Also, Colm's in the chat room. You can follow him at Culmination. And you can follow everybody at GFQ Network, who's part of the GFQ Network. But for now, for everybody here at the T4 Show, thank you and best of luck in all your future hassling the Hoff endeavors.